Can't just keep the music going through the whole thing.
Well, we can't. I mean, if we
because Silver will mess that up. No, Dave, stop.
Hey, you know what? No, let's turn it back on. We're talking about Akeem, the African Dream. Bruce, can you do your best Akeem dance? There you go. There it is. SomethingToWrestle.com. You got. I know it's an audio show, but it's video too now.
Yeah, but I'm a good dancer. And look, that comes through on any medium.
It does. It's a vibe.
Dancing fool.
We know that.
You know,
the real life George Gray, one man gang, is reborn as a maybe slightly offensive jive talking soul brother from Africa, determined to use his power of his cultural heritage. Wait, why do we have a photo of me up there?
I know.
Anyway, right? George Gray, of course. Oh, wait a minute. God damn it.
Can you spot the differences?
Yeah,
I can't.
It's scary. Gray enters the company in May of '87 as the one man gang. Of course, he had runs with World Class and Mid-South. He's going to use that moniker through '88 for appearances on Survivor Series and WrestleMania 4, and he even has a world title match against the Macho Man on Saturday night's main event. But then, on September 24th, 1988, maybe one of the most infamous vignettes in WWF history, we see the one-man gang's manager, Slick, the Doctor of Style, bring Mean Gene to a city alley surrounded by a bunch of dancers dressed as African tribes people, I guess. I don't know. And Slick is promising to shock the world. And Akeem steps out from behind a flaming barrel. The only way I know how to describe these movements are shucking and jiving, which I don't even know if you can say anymore. But it's a whole new persona. Slick is going to announce that he's been reborn. And he's put into the title picture almost immediately, challenging Randy Savage for house shows throughout the rest of '88. He goes on to become a tag team with the Big Boss Man as the Twin Towers. And then in October of '90, that's all she wrote. He picks up a win over Jake the Snake Roberts in a Harlem street fight at a house show in Maryland. And no more Akeem, the African Dream, in the WWF. So not the longest gimmick in the world. We got about 2 years out of this. What do you think of Akeem, the African Dream?
Well, first of all, not something that we could do today. And,
no, clearly.
You know, again, sign of the times, folks. This was, God, more than 30 years ago. Long time ago, different era. But, you know, George Gray, very entertaining guy in the locker room. And I would compare George Gray to a Paul Bearer in the locker room on how he could cut promos on people. And just the wit and just funny, dry, without even trying to be funny. I remember going to Jamel's Steakhouse in Oklahoma City, and it was rare that we got any time to ever go out and have a nice meal at a decent restaurant. And we had a afternoon show, and so we had the evening off. We knew that we would be able to be out by whatever 5 or 6 o'clock, and we went to Jamel's, which was this really nice steakhouse. I thought it's still there in Oak City, and it was a Lebanese steakhouse. So it was myself, Eddie Gilbert, Keith the Libyan, and Carl Fergie, and One Man Gang. So we get there, and part of the gimmick was that they bring out these appetizers. They bring out tabbouleh, and they bring out some other things, and then they bring out fried bologna, which is like, man, you know, thick cut bologna, and it's just fried or barbecued bologna, and it's just thick cut, and it's good. I mean, it's, if you like fried bologna. I happen to like fried bologna, but everybody's like, "Oh, hey, man, the fried bologna, it's great." And everybody's like going crazy about the fried bologna. And George just takes a bite out and goes, "It's just bologna." But the way he said it, and it just kind of, we laughed for the rest of the dinner. George's reaction to all the food, that look, we were just happy to be at a nice restaurant, having a good steak and having a good meal for a change instead of grabbing fast food and eating it in our hotel room. And so everybody's like, "Oh, hey man, this is great." And his just reaction was just so, "What's so great about this, man? I don't get it. We're just eating dinner." And that was just the kind of guy he was. He was just a very simple, funny, nice man, one of the nicest guys you'd ever run across as well. So his one man gang kind of been there, done that, looking to rejuvenate his career and get something new and fresh out of him. Hence, Akeem is born. And I will admit that I may have suggested the African Dream.
Oh, there we go.
You know, well, because it was like, you know, when we're looking, I said, hey, well, I mean, because when he cut his promos, he did remind me of Virgil. And
you're saying like, Dusty Rhodes. You don't mean Virgil like the character. You mean
the real human being, Virgil.
Yes.
And the way, you know, he reminded me of that. And I said, hey, you know, what about, you know, he's Akeem, he's the African Dream. And that was just a play because there have been American dreams, obviously, and why not have an African dream?
So when you didn't have this persona in mind until those words fell out of your mouth, the African Dream.
No, Akeem was out there, and that was something Vince had come up with, and to make him into Akeem, I might have just added the African Dream onto it, and just because it was fun. And I mean, he was just billed as Akeem, and we just threw in the African Dream here and there, and people always remember that. That wasn't, I don't know that he was billed as Akeem the African Dream, and people may have referred to him as that, but that wasn't, you know, something. It was just Akeem.
I want to remind everybody that Akeem is first going to become a pop culture thing with the movie Coming to America. It came out June 29th, 1988. It's obviously a box office smash with Eddie Murphy playing African royalty, and he's named Akeem. And now we've got a character in this persona, Akeem the African Dream. So maybe a little bit of, maybe
100%, yeah.
You
know, people understood that, and you know, looking back, it's what, you know, what's that transformation, and we're going through all this thing. Vince had this vision of doing this whole transformation ceremony and everything, and as we go on and where can we do this? And we actually did it in an abandoned school in downtown Stamford. And in doing so, we got the school booked and had everything. And we had dancers to, you know, do the dance and to do the tribal dance. And we wanted authentic, you know, African tribal dancers, which we got. And they were from university or somewhere, but they were legit African tribal troupe, and they took their heritage very, very seriously, which I didn't want. I wanted somebody that understood, hey guys, we're having fun with this.
We're leaning into the comedy.
This is a parody. This is, you know, something that is going to be crazy. And I'm warned day of, I mean, not day of, night of, we're like getting ready to lay it out, and I'm getting ready to go over and speak to the choreographer. And this guy comes up and says, "Oh yeah, they're very serious about this. I don't think they're gonna buy what you want to do." And I said, well, I told you exactly what we wanted to do, and to find me people to do that. I just needed dancers at this point. And so I go over and I meet with this young lady who's absolutely delightful. And she's one of those people, what they call her. And she's looking at me, and everything I'm saying, I'm thinking, oh boy, she hates this. And I explained what we're looking for. I said, well, what we're really looking for here is a traditional African tribal dance that turns into the California Raisins. And when I said that, she got the biggest shitting smile, grin on her face. And she's like, I get it. Now I get it. And she's like, We can definitely do that. And man, it was cold that night, and they're dressed, you know, no shirts, no tops or anything, and shorts and just flip flops. And they were troopers. They were excellent, and completely understood, man, that when the reveal comes and we play the music and we play Jive Soul Bro, that we go into a tribal California raisin dance. And I bet it took her less than 5 minutes to come up and grasp that and do what we did, which was just fun. And they were awesome to work with.
I love that the California raisins is what triggered it. It's like, bam, okay, got it.
Yeah. You know, then she was like, oh, okay, I get that. And it was, you know, yeah, it was a fun shoot. Just, you know, doing that kind of stuff with Gene, which was all tongue in cheek anyway, and Slick Pro.
Yeah.
So it was a bunch of fun people, but there was a few minutes there where I was worried, going, oh man, you got me like legit, you know, people that take this very, very seriously, take their heritage very seriously, as they should. But now I don't know how they're gonna dig this. And I explained the whole concept to her, man. And she just stone faced me the whole time until I got to. So then, yeah, but it was good. I thought it was a lot of fun. Again, not anything we could do today. I don't think that the sensitivity police would allow us to do anything like that.
He had roughly a 2-year run here. Is that about all you could expect out of a character like this in reality?
I think he could have probably had a longer run, but at the same time, I think George was kind of done with the road.
Yeah, I mean, I've read in interviews, or maybe I've heard in interviews. I think the gist was he was gone a lot. The travel schedule was brutal.
Yeah.
And he felt like maybe the payoffs were dwindling, but that is sort of the standard in the business at the time. Business was starting to taper off a little bit in the fall of 1990. Do you think it was just timing for him, you know, with because he's a big fellow doing a lot of travel, and eventually maybe the juice wasn't worth the squeeze?
Absolutely. I just think he was tired, man. He'd been doing it for a while. And what people do forget is that so many of the talent are larger than life. And here was a very large man traveling every day in rental cars, on airplanes, not in first class, usually in coach, having people hit their arms down the aisle as they, you know, sit there, and, you know, you get up and down, and it's uncomfortable. It's a grind. And I dare say it's more of a grind when you're an extraordinarily large man like he was. So I think that being away from home and being away from his family, I think that he had felt it was time to stay home and be a husband and be a father.